What is happening, guys? Martin Martinez back again. Hola a todos, bonsoir a tous. I'm here, guys, and I just want to touch base with you guys because a lot is happening out there on the planet right about now. It is a difficult time. We've just seen the US election. In the UK, it's going to go on lockdown again. In France as well, we've got the curfew and everything else going on over there. It is a crazy time. 2020 has been a crazy year personally, and it's been a crazy year, I'm sure, you know, just in respect of what we are seeing. Now, again, I can't speak on everyone else's situation. I can only talk about my own, but this is just a quick video, nothing too detailed, but by all means, guys, if you want me to talk more on it, please let me know your comments down below. But ultimately, it's a crazy time, guys, and I want to know how you guys are coping. This is not an easy time, especially in UK. As they say, it's going to be another month lockdown. Previously had one earlier in the year, and this is going to be the second time around now. Will this go on until the end of December into the new year, or is it going to realistically finish by December? Supposedly that's what they're saying. I don't personally necessarily think that may be the case, but nonetheless, I thought I'll just check with you guys and see, you know, what you guys think about it. It's a tough time because, you know, I'm just reading an article. Even again, this is the UK, so it's reading an article from the Metro, which basically saying about, you know, it says loneliness in lockdown has impacted 4 in 10 males or 4 in 10 men's mental health, and this is a thing as well. There's such a crazy thing we don't realize, and I didn't realize it myself until obviously being in this situation. I'm sure many people have seen it now, that, you know, when we go out and we socialize, we talk to people, we do these fragrance reviews and everything else like that, and it's such a level of interaction that you pick up from other people. You know, you go into different places, you're traveling, you even going when you're going to work. There's so many things or so many points of stimuli that we pick up along the way. And, you know, to be in a situation now where we're going back in for a month, it's not the end of the world. Hope it's not, but at the same time, it seems to be a very crazy time. You know, in the US, I can see obviously with the current results, or yet to be counted results, and there's a lot of division and everything else going on. It is a very crazy time. So I just want to know how you guys are coping out there. What are you doing? What's your coping mechanism? What are your coping mechanisms? Say I can talk about Zara fragrances, I can talk about different fragrances I have all day long, but at the end of the day, those things are, you know, it's somewhat superficial. It's a shame other YouTubers are not coming out, in my opinion. Other YouTubers are not coming out and actually maybe putting forward a bit of a message as well. I hope everyone's safe out there. I hope everyone's doing well. Can't speak on everybody else, they've got their own prerogative, but for myself and my channel, what I want to do, as you see on the top of it, it does say Martin Martinez. I believe it says fragrance, lifestyle, business, whatever it says. Now the channel's focused mainly on fragrances, but I will probably need to start developing more in respect of the business and the lifestyle, because there's more to it than just the fragrance. You know, if you've lost your job right about now, which these are things that other YouTubers aren't necessarily going to talk about, it because maybe they're in a point where they've established themselves and they're doing what they need to do. But if you've lost your job, you know, what use is talking about a, you know, a £200 fragrance? What does that mean to you? You know, maybe in that moment in time, you know, that's realistically the last of your worries, that, you know, the last of your things on your mind. It's not the most important thing. You know, so obviously I can see how people go to different channels for different elements of content, but at the same time, I just think it's one of those things that there's too much going on now, and I just thought I need to reach out to you guys. Let me know how you're coping. Leave your comments down below. You know, it's a place where or I think we're at a stage where, you know, us as guys, we don't really talk as much as we could do. We're not as open as we could do. You know, a lot of us have a bit of bravado and a little bit sort of like, you know, we don't need to really open up about things. And I'm not saying necessarily, you know, that's something you have to do all the time, but just reading the articles I'm seeing about obviously people losing their jobs, potentially people are going to be on their own at Christmas time. You know, people also are not going to see their children, you know, or can't see their children at all. People have died, you know, people have lost loved ones and not been able to go to the funerals, or they've gone to funerals, especially at this time, and there's hardly anybody there because of the restrictions that have happened. And it is such a crazy time. It's one of those things where, you know, I can see, again, I don't want to speak too much about everybody, I can only speak about my own experiences, but I can see that obviously people will now look to drill down and focus on the closest to them. And again, you'll see people probably drop off in your life. You'll see people maybe come into your life, people who are, you know, looking for support networks that they never had before. Maybe you're part of that group now. It's a very difficult time, guys, and again, I know as males we can maybe, as I say, have this bravado, and we sort of like, you know, have this mindset of, you know, not necessarily one man's an island, but sometimes you feel like you need to take it all on your own. And guys, I'd say, you know, reach out for support as well. Don't be afraid to reach out for support. It's a very troubling time. You're not going to be the only one going through, you know, these situations, but it's a very sad time as well. But do not let these circumstances stop you from reaching out. And that's the one thing I want to say for this video. Can't speak for other people, can only speak for myself, but I just want to remind you guys that, you know, it's best to try and look for assistance, look for help. You're not all on your own. And funny enough, I'm reading this book. It's probably a bit random, but just reading this book now. Let's see if you can see this. Yeah. So this is from a comedian in the UK, but maybe you guys know him in the States as well, I don't know. Romesh, and I can't even pronounce this guy's last name, so if he's ever watching this, he needs to tell me how to pronounce his last name. But ultimately, guys, this is called basically As Good As It Gets. And it talks about, it says lessons from a reluctant adult. And I started to read this one quite recently. It's quite interesting. Again, I'm in my 30s now, and I'm seeing, you know, obviously how things change when it comes to just an outlook on life. When you've been through university, or you've done your studies, or you've done, I don't know, if you've done some training, apprenticeship, whatever it may be, and then you get to a point where you're now going to start getting into, ultimately they say guys hit their peak around about in their 30s upward. And this is something where I thought it'd be useful to read this book. He's talking about, even for the first page, he's talking about basically having, you know, a level of control in his own life to a point where, I'm not saying he's just given up, but obviously he's not giving up. He won't be at that level if he has. But, you know, he's talking about, you know, having a bit of a psychology to your children or over your children. Talks about sex in his with his marriage, you know, friendship, flaking on people, going on holidays, being polite to people, relationships, and getting old. You know, there's quite a few chapters in here, and to some extent it is quite entertaining. But it's a book that I think is a useful one to read if you're at a point now where you're getting not necessarily to a crossroads, but you get to a point where you think to yourself, you just want to hear somebody else's opinion. And for some reason, us as guys, especially if you've not grown up around, I don't know, a big group of a big family, or you don't seem to have maybe many, I don't know, brothers and sisters and things like that, it's one of those situations sometimes where you do need someone to give you a little bit of advice, and it's not always possible. People aren't always forthcoming with information, but it's books like these which I think are relatively useful, just to get a bit of an insight into a bit of an overview of things to expect, and obviously maybe take that on board. You know, it's a very short book. I think I paid like £10 for it in Asda. It's not necessarily a book I'm going to say is going to be, you know, top of my particular you know, Christmas list, but at the same time it seems to be a very good book so far from what I've read so far. And again, it's just really just trying to find ways for us to mentally bridge the gap and get ready for after this lockdown, and also again trying to stay sane during this lockdown is what I want to say. So it might seem a bit of a ramble to some. I hope this has hit the note with somebody out there. By all means, go and check out this book again. But if you're in a particular place, you know, and you need support, again, reach out to people. Don't be on your own in this time. This is a very tough time. You know, it's just one of those situations that nobody knew this was going to happen. If you were to ask me this time next year or last year, you know, could you ever imagine this? Never in a million years, never in a million years, and yet we find ourselves here. So all I say is to say, guys, as a final point, reach out. Don't feel you need to be alone. If there's points you want me to discuss about just, you know, dealing with you know, the aspects of obviously lockdown, what you feel as a man, what you have to deal with, what you have to cope with, some things that I can't necessarily relate to, by all means let me know down below, because that's part of lifestyle, guys, as well. I think, you know, it's not just about, say, fragrances, it's about superficial things and everything else like that. And then at the same time, you know, people are struggling out there. People have to go to food banks just to find food. You know, I really asked the question, you know, what are some of these YouTubers doing outside of YouTube? What they do to help other people? Some of these things I don't see. So it's a little bit of a tough one right about now, because everyone has to sort of knuckle down in their own sort of area and drill down to make sure they're secure to get out of this lockdown situation. And again, I'm hoping everybody's safe out there. Hopefully see you on the next video. Just a quick one just to say, you know, please look out for support. Don't feel you need to suffer in silence, and make sure that you can hopefully find your way or see the end of the tunnel as well outside of this one. But lockdown is not a nice situation. We've done this once before, but at the same time, we're still here and we still keep going. So hopefully, guys, be safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.